Welcome to the Transmission Coaching Podcast, powered by ATRA. Today's podcast is sponsored by Gears Magazine, your magazine for the automatic transmission rebuilding industry. Be sure to get into Gears. Get your free subscription at gearsmagazine.com. Click on subscribe. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the Coaching Podcast. And now here's your host, Coach Lance Wiggins.
Welcome to the Transmission Coaching Podcast. My name is Lance Wiggins. It's a great day to fix transmissions. And once again, Miss Vanessa is with us, my co-host. Good morning. How are you today?
Doing good.
First day of school?
Well, not for me, but for my 8-year-old. Yes, third grade.
Outstanding.
She was super excited. I'm waiting for that to wear off because my high schooler.
Yeah, you're not happy.
Not that excited. And then I start in 2 weeks.
That's right. And this is your last year, is that correct?
Second to last year.
So you're a junior.
Well, no, it's complicated. I'm officially a senior as far as credits, how it goes, but I'm only taking 2 classes a semester, so it's super spread out. So basically what I'm saying is if I wanted to take a full load, like 5 or 6 classes, I would be graduating this year, yes.
Outstanding.
But I'm not.
Outstanding. Well, listen, we talk about education all the time here.
Yeah, but I'm not going to drive myself crazy. I know my limits.
Yeah, well, you're a working educator.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. I gotta have to work and school in the evening. So.
Well, training is always at the top of our list, especially for topics with regards to not only our members but also ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Along the topic of our expo that we've been kind of doing the last 3 weeks, I got a hold of Maryann Croce,
Yes.
and I believe she's on the phone. Maryann, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Maryann. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here.
We're very excited to get some good info from you. So, Maryann, you and Tony, your husband, own Croce Transmission in Norwalk, Connecticut. Tell us a little bit about you, Tony, and your shop there.
Okay, so Tony and I have owned our shop since 1999, and we're very blessed to have the caring team that we do. When we started out, it was a journey, or I should say, yes, it's been a journey over the last years. What originally happened was I wasn't in the automotive industry at all. My husband was. Tony grew up, went to school for automotive through high school, and then he went on to school in Denver, what used to be known as Denver Automotive and Diesel College. I believe it became I think it's another type of school now. But I was in banking. I thought about becoming a teacher and decided to take a year off and went to work and really loved banking. And it kind of fulfilled that need because serving customers and having them come in, working with loans, the financial end, really fulfilled for me that need for the teaching. So it was a good fit. And then we actually, Tony and I actually met in high school. We dated throughout high school.
Oh, same with my husband and I. Nice.
Yeah, high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
So, and we started our family. And what ended up happening was he got that itch. He wanted to open up a shop. So we sat down and we talked about it. And we thought, with our experiences and our backgrounds, him working in the industry, he was a builder for 18 years for an independent, and then worked for a few years as at a franchise. So he got the idea, he knew what it was like from, both different perspectives. Mm-hmm. And for me, when we decided to open up our shop, we sat down and we thought about it, and we really saw that our skill sets and our experiences really complemented one another. So that was really how we decided that we were going to go ahead.
That's really interesting what you were just saying about, coming from both perspectives, which sounds like, your skill set being with banking, right? And then your husband's, Tony, with automotive. And I actually have just been having some conversations lately with Lance about some things I've been reading going on in the industry of people opening up shops that have no automotive experience. And, purely coming from a management standpoint and having completely successful shops. And as we all know, there's also plenty of successful shops that solely come from that automotive perspective. And it just is really interesting that it's like, how are these two completely different businesses, how are they able to be successful in their own rights and having different skill sets? It's very, I think it's really interesting. The yin and the yang.
The yin and the yang, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And to your point, I think that even if as owners, you don't bring both of those skill sets to the business when you start out, you're hiring people that have the skill sets that you don't.
Say that again.
So even if you're starting out in a business, right? Tony had a lot of the technical knowledge. He was very familiar with the industry, and I wasn't. I brought a different skill set. But if you're starting out a business, and to Vanessa's point, that people open up a business, they're not maybe from the industry, but they can be very successful. My point is that even though that's not your skill set, you can hire people that have that skill set.
I made you repeat that because it was profound. It is such an interesting enlightenment when you hear somebody say that. I remember when we first started doing our What's Working surveys, and businesses that were, you've heard Dennis say this. This shop over here was dying at the Vine, and a block and a half away, in a shop that you couldn't even find, is thriving. And the differences were because they realized that they were a builder and they're not a front end guy, or a person, right? They're not somebody that will meet and greet and talk to your customers. They were the meat and potatoes of the shop. They're in there cooking, and they're not serving. And so there's a difference between those. And you just, when you said that, I was like, I'm going to capture this real quick. Say it again.
True.
So I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue.
I know that you have some involvement in promoting women in the industry. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you got into it?
Yeah, I decided that I needed to join some industry associations to really learn more about the industry. And ATRA was one of the first ones that we joined. And another association that I joined is Women in Auto Care. And it's an industry that I absolutely love. It's near and dear to me. And it really is a great collection of women in all areas of the aftermarket. So it's a great networking conferences twice a year, and it's a great opportunity to network and learn, personal development, business development, and I got to meet a lot of other shop owners as well that happen to be, women. But yeah, they're from all different aspects of the industry, so it's nice to have that all in one room at a conference.
Interesting.
And it's called
Women in Auto Care?
Yeah. So if for the females, for the women that are listening to the podcast and they're interested in a little bit more about this, where would they go to find that?
Yeah, we do have a website. They're actually part of the Car Care Council. Women in Auto Care is womeninautocare.org.
And they meet twice a year?
Twice a year. We have a summer conference and a winter conference. Actually, we joined forces with a Canadian group, and for the first time I was in Toronto this summer, and we had over 200 women there at the conference. We had some really excellent speakers, and it was absolutely great. They also raised money for scholarships for women that are coming into the automotive industry. It was definitely a great association to check out.
Wow.
Oh, it's outstanding.
Great.
Well, our good friend and your good friend Roger Bland just showed up. Hi, Roger.
Hi, guys. I heard one of my favorite people were going to be on the podcast, and so hi, Maryann.
Hi, Roger.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great,
Thanks for having me.
great. Yeah, great to have you on.
You don't have to see the smiles; you can just hear the smiles. It's awesome. It's awesome. We talk about, especially with our What's Working program, about community involvement. And I was talking with Roger this morning, and he also mentioned that you're big in the community involvement. What are some of the things that you're doing?
Well, I started networking and getting involved with organizations on a local level. My chamber, that was something that was important to me because, we're all, many shop owners, when you look all across the country, we're small business owners, and we don't have the resources that these large companies have. So on a local level, it's important to get involved. And I made some really great connections and ended up getting on a committee. And it's a nice opportunity to really go in and appreciate and acknowledge small businesses in the community that are out there, doing the right things for the right reasons. So I'm really proud to be part of the chamber. We got involved years ago with Make-A-Wish, and I know there are, different organizations that are probably near and dear all over the country to, different shops. But I think just having your core values and, your beliefs, your own beliefs, be who you are, is a big part of running your business. And, we take a lot of pride in that. For me, one of the big things when we opened up our shop was, I'm a big picture person. So being a resource to our community was huge. I looked at it kind of like a three-legged approach as we opened up our shop. And for me, it was, one of those legs was being that resource and being able to take the fear out of automotive repair, because it's alive and well. We hear it, we see it, right? And to do that with really educational marketing and giving people the facts and just educating them and empowering them. The other part of that approach was really sharing what's working, right? What's working in our shop, what's working in the industry, and really developing ourselves so that we can also develop our team. And we thought that was huge because there are so many good people in the industry doing the right things for the right reasons. And when you look at it from that leg of my approach is really developing your team and giving them opportunities. And then the last leg of this approach is really supporting and encouraging the next generation coming into the industry. Because, there's a lot of miscommunication and, as we know, perception of it. So I think it's important to get involved even with the community there. We've done 8th grade career nights, which parents attend along with their child, their 8th grade student. We've actually had some girls come in over the years to the classes.
Oh, wow.
But we've been able to do those too and give them a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like, today's automotive technician as a career. And they're very surprised.
I can imagine.
So, yeah, I think it's important to look at it beyond your shop, and the approach to really, serve.
We have a career day at the local high school that I coach football for, and part of the career day, all the seniors come by. They sit in this group. You got 12 people in a group, and you hand out the Gears magazine, talk a little bit about ATRA, talk about the shops that belong to us and how many, and why it's important that that the career choice that they're making is profitable. And they'll look at you and they'll give you the business like, well, what are we talking about? Like, what, $12 an hour? I sit there and I just kind of smile. I'm like, well, there's technicians from the West Coast to the East Coast. They can average anywhere from, $60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a year if you're doing the right thing. And to see their eyes light up like, ooh, and we have an automotive program at the high school, but not a lot of high schools have that anymore.
No.
And that's where you guys, this sounds like, that's when you guys have that job fair. This is a great opportunity for them to come in.
Exposure.
Yeah, exactly. Just make make the students aware of the opportunity, and also is equally as important as the parents, because parents are huge influencers on their children. So making them aware, because they want to do right by their kids, and giving them the information so they know that the opportunities that exist.
What do you find, Maryann? What are the parents' reactions when they come to these events?
They have an outdated perception of the industry, and they're very surprised at how high-tech it is. The education and training that is required now to be able to work on today's vehicles. They you compare it to the vehicle that they own, and everything that their vehicle is able to do. And when they realize that these vehicles are computer controlled, it makes a lot of sense to them. And we go through this presentation and talk about what it is like to be a technician, the day in the life of, and what the responsibilities are, the role, the goal, the whole bit. And they're very, very surprised, and the opportunities that are out there as well. They're very surprised. So, yeah, and that for me is very rewarding, because the awareness now is there.
There for the young kids is what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's there for, the class that the class that we're presenting at is 8th graders. So the awareness is there for them, but also for the parents, because now they're influencing them. So if a child were to say to a parent, this is something that I'm interested in doing, instead of a parent having a outdated perception of the industry and saying something like, what do you want to do that for?
Right.
Now they have a very different image, a very different perception of, what the industry is, and now they're more aware and educated in the opportunities that are available to them.
Yeah.
So I think that, because, we have guidance counselors, think about it, in schools for parents as well. So, I think it's important to get out there and be that example of a professional, right? A business owner, a professional. Go out there into your community, and just going out there, people see you as a business owner and an expert in your field, in your industry. So,
and we have to do that, Maryann. We're not going to we can't rely on the guidance counselors at high school or even junior high to do that and direct these kids, because that's not going to happen, right?
No. Yeah. As soon as you put that owner hat on, I believe you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
I remember showing up to the first day of my job in Orville Brixey. Never forget the guy's name.
Orville Brixey?
Yeah, 6'3", big, tall, slender guy, good-looking dude with glasses. Comes up to me, and he's got his Ford uniform on, and here I am, this 20-year-old kid, fresh out of high school, working on some cars here and there. And he says, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Lance." He's all, "Last name?" I'm all, "Wiggins." He's all, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, I'm changing oil. I'm the oil change guy." He's all, get out while you can." And I mean, I'm not kidding you. He did. And I was like, "Why?" And he went on to have this poor attitude on the business. And I reflected back on the movie Good Will Hunting, and I shared with him the honorability of being in this industry, and knowing that my mom could get her car to work, and my friends could get their car to work, and mom could take little Johnny to soccer practice, and so on and so forth. And that stuck with me, and I've preached that for 20 plus years. I mean, this is what you preach. That's part of. We are servants to the people, and that's what we're doing. And in doing so, like you talked about just moments ago, core values. Those core values are instilled in you. You instill those into your customers. Your customers will continue to come back to you and pass the word on that. You have the same core values as them. You're there to help them. They want to come in, and and when people like you, if they like your shop, they'll just open their wallet. Sure, absolutely, take care of it.
It's that trust, yeah.
That's trust, yep.
Yeah. I came in late, you guys, so I'm not sure if you guys covered 90-day year.
No, not yet.
Maryann invited Dennis and I earlier this year to an event she's affiliated with called 90 Day Year, kind of It's a Todd Herman group, and she's affiliated with it. Outstanding information, great information, and she brings that resources now with her business to our industry. So I'm really excited about that. And you'll be sharing some of that at Expo and throughout what you offer, right, Maryann?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I grew up so comfortable in the trade businesses. My dad was a carpenter, and I knew electricians and plumbers, and he had his favorite automotive shop where the guy was just great, and he really admired him. So I grew up in the blue collar world. For me, these were people that I admired, respected, I loved. So this is my world. As Roger was saying, that the 90-day year is actually an implementation program. And that's where I feel that most shops, as owners, we tend to get stuck. It was something that, we got stuck in ourselves. There's a whole bunch of tactics and ways to do things, but we struggle with the implementation side, putting things, actually getting them done.
Yeah.
So as owners, it really changed my business dramatically. So it's something that I really want to bring into the automotive industry. It's something that has served me well, so I want to share it with others.
Can't wait. One of the great things I learned about that, sometimes you go to events like that, you pick up one thing or one concept that you can kind of think on. Todd said in one of the sessions, great coaches, great consultants, people who really want to help you are focused more on subtraction than addition. We don't need more complexity added to our life. And I know Maryann abides by that principle too, looking to take away some of the complexity, make us focus on what's really important. I think that's so valuable. In anything, right?
I'm still trying to figure out how do I get 90 days in 1 year. I like that. I love that part. I want that job.
So Maryann, we have you speaking this year, but what was your first experience at Expo as being an attendee? How long have you been an attendee?
So we opened up our shop in '99, and we started coming to Expo. We've only missed 2, I think, Expos since we've opened our shop.
Wow, that's
That should be an award or something.
I know. That's great.
You'll get your sticker when you show up this year, Maryann.
I wouldn't miss it.
I hope not.
The training is great. I mean, I wouldn't miss it. Every year we look forward to it. The training is great, and the networking is just as powerful.
That's great. Roger and I have been talking about, how, and Lance, of course, how, especially Dan Marinucci last week and then John Parmenter the week before on the podcast, they both mentioned the same thing about Expo, that it's not just what you learn as you're sitting in the seats, but from each other, if not just as much. Yeah. So it's nice that here we have a situation where Maryann, who's been an attendee for so many years, is now we're gonna put her up on the stage and we're gonna learn from her. So I like how we were able to tie that in there. So we're very excited to have you there, and wow, a lot of knowledge, I'm sure.
I'm excited to come back.
Yeah, I think what's kind of interesting is, you started in '99. Your first time you came to Expo, were you wowed?
Was I loud?
Yeah, like, wow, this is...
wowed.
Wowed. Wowed. Yeah.
I thought you said loud.
It's a West Coast thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a Elmer Fudd. Wowed.
Oh, wow.
I was wowed. I was wowed by the group. I mean, I expected all of the presenters and the ATRA staff to be welcoming. They're good people in the industry, but it was the sharing and the camaraderie with all of the shop owners and the other technicians, because Tony had gone to a lot of technical training, and it was really great to be in that group of people. That really did. I knew I was in the right place.
Well, I know that I'm beating around the bush about the concept that I'm using here, but my son Tyler graduated from Cal Poly a few years ago, and one of the things that the dean, so the doctor, whomever he is, was speaking to 3,500 students that were graduating in their football field, and he talked about the wow to now concept, and you followed that path. Like, your first expo was wow, and now look at you now. You're going to be a speaker. This is outstanding.
Second year. She spoke last year too.
Right?
Full circle.
This is just fantastic. So what exactly are you going to bring to the table as far as your presentation?
So my presentation this year is focus on the solution, not the problem. We tend to get stuck in our day-to-day challenges, problems that we face, and that's really more of a reactive mindset that we're in. And when you start focusing on the solution and you have more of a proactive or an I'm curious type of mindset, then you're really focusing on, okay, what do we need to do? And it doesn't necessarily mean, as Roger was saying before, it doesn't mean adding more to your plate, right? It means subtracting from your plate. You have a lot of resources within your own shop that you may not even be using or looking at. And there's a lot of people in your shop that are also capable, and you have your own capabilities. So the idea is have that I'm curious mindset, which is really more of a proactive mindset, and focus on the solution.
Yeah. Hey, Maryann, if someone's listening to the podcast and they'd like more information about what you're offering as far as coaching and consulting, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, my website is Small Biz Vantage, and .com. That's the name of the business. And yes, I do speaking and I do coaching.
Right. So smallbiz, B-I-Z, vantage.com, smallbizvantage.com.
Right.
Yeah. Excellent. And that you got an email there and they can contact you that way.
Yes, right on the website.
Excellent.
And I'd be happy to chat with anyone. There's a link on the website. Be happy to, give them, they can reach out to me and schedule a call, and, be happy to do that. Yeah. Actually, being able, for my biggest, as a shop owner, my biggest goal, once we realized that our shop was sustainable and it was running and we had great people in place, was really to give back to the industry. Because this is a group that it's near and dear to me. I love the people in this industry. So that's really what pulled me into, this next venture.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Maryann's the type of person who gives back. I mean, she starts the next venture and says, okay, I've got the shop running down. Fine, now what do I do? Let's give back. And then that's the natural progression. So great that you're doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hang around and micromanage everyone. I didn't want to do that. I said, let me get out of their way and let them do their thing.
Well, Maryann, thank you so much for joining us here at the Transmission Coaching Podcast. It's a great day to fix transmissions, so let's keep fixing transmissions together. Thank you, Maryann.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.